The SANDAG board will evaluate CEO Hassan Ikhrata's job performance today. Joining us now to discuss the details of the upcoming meeting is Vista SANDAG board alternate, Vista Mayor John Franklin. John, good morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, as an alternate on the SANDAG board, you do not get to be a part of the hearing today, the review?
That's right. Since the members of the Vista City Council saw fit to remove me from the primary position, I'll actually be locked out of the room, but I will be making sure that I'm part of the process publicly.
And what is your voice, your opinion on Hassan Ikhrata's performance since his last review 2 years ago?
So there are two big issues at SANDAG in terms of Hassan's performance. Number one is the information that's come out in the public audit. We have $290 million of cost overruns on contracts. And what concerns me the greatest amount is that we have 447 contracts that were reviewed that were signed by the agency with no fixed dollar amount. Now, I spoke recently with our legal counsel at the City of Vista and asked him how many blank check contracts the City of Vista has signed. The fact is they're illegal and we don't do them. No agency, according to the Public Contract Code, should be signing blank checks. We have a lowest bidder process and a contracting process that's defined by state law for a reason, to protect taxpayers. And I'm deeply concerned that taxpayers have not been protected, and that's the reason we've seen massive cost overruns. And frankly, if we look at like what happened in the City of Vista recently, we have interests who are receiving large contracts and have large, we're talking multiple billions of dollars of interest at what's happening at SANDAG. And they've hired members of the Vista City Council to work as lobbyists. Then those lobbyists, who are council members, turn around and reshape the board to be more favorable to the outcomes of their employers. So we have some major public integrity issues that are happening. Obviously there was the $17,000 of meals that Hassan paid for over a 2-year period, which is a lot of fancy meals. And I have to think that the auditor would not have called out, where he bought Panera bread for the board. These are meals that he was, personally entertaining. So those are questions. The other major issue with SANDAG, and this is the issue that I'm really primarily focused on, is where we're headed as a policy direction. Mm-hmm. We have 78 Highway, which is the life artery of North County, is closed right now because metal corrugated pipes with a 50-year lifespan were allowed to be in place for 70 years. We have been paying since 1987 a half-cent Transnet sales tax, and we were promised in '87 and we were promised again in 2005 and that we would receive improvements to Highway 78 and other regional highways. Those improvements that we paid for decades on the taxes have never come. And so our highway systems are failing. We're spending more than half of all of our regional dollars on transportation on mass transit, which is other than highway infrastructure, buses and trains. So where are we prioritizing our dollars? It's essential to the economic future of our region that our highway system functions correctly. We also need to make new investments in transit. I support those investments. Mm-hmm. But we have to support the highway system that underpins our economic success as a region. And so I think his policy focus is wrong. I think the 5 Big Moves program, I call it the 5 Bad Moves, because none of it improves our highway infrastructure. So I think voters should pay attention to the board that put Hassan in place, that keeps him in place, and understand that the policies that he advances are actually their policies.
Yeah. And just one of the decisions that's going to be made today under his contract, it says that the board has the discretion to award a pay raise as part of this review, which amounts to as much as 7% of his roughly $414,000 base salary. That's a base salary. There's a lot of perks that come on on top of that. I think a lot of voters might take issue with that. Do you think that that is reasonable and that will pass today?
I can tell you, if I was there and voting, the answer would be no. These public contracting issues alone give me pause. And the fact that I don't support the policy direction he's taking us, no, I wouldn't support giving a bonus or a pay raise. And I think the citizens of San Diego County are going to be upset if that's what the SANDAG board decides to do.
Well, John Franklin, Mayor Vista, thank you so much for the time this morning. And obviously there will be more to talk about after we hear the results of the review today.
Thanks for having me.
All right.